make sure your audio bitrate is at 320 for all of them. You can change, if you have 5 tracks, you can change that, but I don't think anyone has 5 tracks. Apply. Now audio, this is where everything comes in. This is my speakers. You put that on wherever your earbuds are.
Right there.
Or your speakers, whatever you use.
So what?
Just I just leave it at normal. This is my mic.
What, Elijah?
And if you other stuff,
Go ahead.
here.
Alright, let me see what's going on here. Is it still laggy? Is it still laggy, guys?
No.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Does it keep getting, guys? No. Does it keep getting, guys? No. Does it keep getting, guys?
Oh, Lord.
No.
Ah, I guess this ain't gonna work as much as I wanted it to.
You get amazing.
Man, but I feel like if this would have worked,
Amazing.
it's getting better.
It's getting better. It's getting better.
Alright. Well, that's good.
But
Alright,
that's
so let's do it.
good. Do it.
Okay, so I believe we left off. Yeah, we're on this one. Alright. So what's going on, guys? If this is working, I'm super excited because this is going to be a dope concept, I think. So let's go ahead and get right back to it. This is Prime Time BS. Move this over a little bit. And let me make sure it looks like I think it looks. Hold on. I've read all the tutorials. So I you know, that's part of why I came back on, because I think I might have fixed the issue. But we gonna see. I'm gonna move this up a little bit.
Oh, then. Daddy, I fixed it.
Yeah, I probably put this right here.
Daddy, I fixed it to you.
You fixed it, baby?
Yeah,
Okay.
like this. And you're trying to hear Daddy.
How do I get rid of this?
Sticky. Oh.
You okay, baby?
What is this? Oopsies. Daddy.
Okay. Can you guys what's going on here? The chat went away.
Daddy, is this my toy?
What, baby?
Is this my toy?
No.
What is it?
I don't know, princess.
Huh?
No, princess.
What is it? I gotta go, Daddy.
Okay, so let's get started. Everybody says we good. All right, so this tutorial is I mean, this haircut ain't that bad, man. What I think about it is probably in this space right here, there's a little bit of choppiness. So there's like a line right here that I see. You could see his guidelines. Valentina, I'm live streaming, girl.
I'm gonna go. Daddy, can you help me?
Go, hurry, go. You can do it, big girl. All right. So this right here, I probably would have, well, what is smoother than that? I don't know if you fade it up or if you fade it down, but if you would have, let's say you faded up, if you would have cross-checked it and faded it down and followed the same steps that you did before, you probably would have taken this line out right here with the one closed using the corners. Right here, it's lever work. So I would have started with the half up to like this point and then lower, you know, close the lever as I went until I erase this line. Because sometimes when we're fading up, we're scared to raise the fade too much. Whereas, Whereas, when we're fading down, we're not really scared because you can't take it down. You guys can't see my mouse. You guys can't see the mouse. Dang, man. Can't win. Alright, you know what? I think I might be able to pull something else off. So no one can see my mouse. The cursor, I mean. Alright, hold on one second. I think I got a fix for that. So what we're gonna do is do display capture. Boom, that says show cursor. And delete that. Valentina. Jesus Christ. Baby. Valentina, please. Alright, can you guys see it now? You guys can see the mouse now, the cursor? I gotta figure this out.
Oh, can I get outside? Is it dark, Daddy?
Okay, cool. We're good. We're good. We're good. All right. I see now. Okay. So, like I was saying, man, definitely would start with the lever open right in this section. I think it would take this little bit of a line out and then close it. Probably one time here, and one time all the way close here, and it should be erased. So you're closing essentially a third of a third every single, 3 times, a third of an inch. So I hope that makes sense. And I'm trying to see if there's comments here. So what I'm trying to do is read the comments while I'm here, but I can't see them. So over. All right. On to the next one. This is blurry. This is super blurry. Like, I really like this haircut. This is by Mark Cuts. He sent in a lot of pictures, but this is the one that I could critique the most. I mean, it's a blurry fade, but this is what I would say. When you got hair like this, I would damp it a little bit because there's a little bit of a stray hair right here. I would have caught that by either putting some shave gel and using a comb and combing it through so it'll lay down, or wetting it with water. This would have laid down a little bit on the forehead. You would have seen this little bit of a stray hair that's coming over. And that's like me being super hard on you, right? I also would have cleaned this up a little bit with shear of a comb, just catching the very ends of the hair, and I think that would have smoothened out a little bit of this rigidness. But like this is dumb blurry. I gotta give you props. Mark Cuts, you're a beast. All right, this is by ASAP Cuts with 2 S's. Okay, so the back I like the back. He has something similar like the back of my son's neck. The back is nice. You got to work on the side taper. Okay. I think that your guidelines are too spread. So it looks like you used the same spread here on the back of his head that you used here. I would tighten it up a little bit. So instead of going an inch each guideline like you did here in the back, I probably would have done half an inch, right? And then I also probably would have left this a little bit darker. So I think that's what's making it look higher than it really is. Because if you would have like made each guideline kind of rounded, right, as I'm doing here, all this would have stayed dark, all this would have stayed dark, but there would have been a nice blend right in here. So I hope that helps for next time. And then same thing, you could do clip over comb, or you could use a 4 guard, probably just come off the head, or some shear over comb, and that would have cleaned up this little bit of bulk that's in here. All right, so what do you guys think about this haircut? Tell me what y'all think about this haircut. And I'm going to tell you guys what I think. Number one, right away, what I noticed right away was this area right here. I don't like that. If you're going for a full hawk look, you could have blended this in a little bit better. If you, you know, if you're not going for a full hawk look, then I feel like this is the easy way out with clippers when you don't know how to use shears. But you went above the ridge, so it made it look like a mohawk. You might as well have used, you know, shear over comb or clipper over comb at an angle, right? So I would have taken that comb like this right off the head, just like this. Like, let's say this is the curve of his head, right? Would have just used the comb right here and clip over comb, following the shape of his head. That would have made it into that faux hawk and made it look a lot more blended than this area right here. A lot of bulk. But if it wasn't supposed to be a faux hawk, then you just brought the blend way too high. You shouldn't have gone over this area right here, right? When you have somebody's head shape, right, the moment it starts to curve over, you do not go above that. If you go above that, it's always going to look like a faux hawk, okay? And then, you know, I would have probably spread it a little bit more in this section. So that looks like you should have went with the half a little bit higher, or the half guard closed, or the blade open. Just a little bit higher to spread this out a little bit more. But it's a nice blend. It's just, you know, some finishing touches that would have made the haircut so much better, because you got the foundation. It's just some little things, man. The lineup is nice, and always finish off your cuts, man. If you're gonna post it on Instagram, you want it to look like a finished product, right? So blend this out or line it up or something, man. But that's part of the haircut. All right, so we got Beauty by Angie. I think she wrote, I think the kids call this the drop fade. I call it a low ball fade. And there's like a big argument about that. It's like, I really don't care about the names of haircuts, but there's like a big, you know, or thing about that. You know, to each their own. But let's get started on the haircut. So one of the things that I've been doing when you want to leave a little bit of bulk here is I've actually started off with shears. And I'll do shear over comb, and I'll start at the top, and, you know, I'm essentially blending down shear over comb until I get to about this area right here, and it ends up being nice. I gotta make a haircut tutorial doing that, because I've been doing it with my drop fades with long hair like this, and it's been coming out dope. And then from there I can just blend down with clippers. What I would tell you is there's a lot of dark areas that are lower than others. Right, so like here it's light, but down here it's dark. Here it's light, but right here it's dark. That's detail work, right? That's using your corners and understanding that if it's gonna be, so let's say you're contouring the head and it's the shape like this. Well, everything underneath here, right, underneath this area should be one tone of color, right? The next guideline, everything in between this guideline should seem like it's the same length of hair, and so on and so forth. So let's say here and here is your guideline. All this should look like it's the same color, right, or the same density. So you got to get into these little spots right here and lighten that up a bit. Even if you have to do, let's say you use a 1 guard to create this guideline. even if you have to use a half right here to lighten it up so that you give the illusion that it's all the same density. Hope that makes sense. Alright, so on to the next one. I would have lined this guy up. His hair's laying straight down. I would have cleaned that up. I would have given him that advice. Maybe he would have said no, but his hair should have, like, I feel like his hair's laying down like that. It should have been lined up, because what's happening is it's laying down and it's so light right here. It looks like he's receding when he's probably not. It's just little strands of hair that are hanging over his hairline. Right, and he would have got a nice box right here, nice corner. The blend's not too bad. There's a little bit of a line right here, right? But it's nothing crazy. It looks like a good fade. Right here in this section, you should have went down a little bit more with the blade open. So it looks like maybe here was the blade closed. I would have went all the way down here with the blade open, and then right here with the one closed, for example. You just need to spread this out a little bit more so the beard would have blended in a bit nicer. So hope that helps. All right. So this one, same thing. First off, like there's different products for different things. Like, I feel like slapping a wet look gel on the side of somebody's hair with this hair texture, with this length, going into this drastic transition. It just looks like a cow licked him on the side of his head. And there's no shot at you. One of the things that I'm going to start doing is telling you guys when to use, like showing you guys when to use a product, the right product, right? And if you're educated about it, then you can educate your clients about it. And it makes it that much easier to sell product and make some extra money, right? So that's one of the things I want to start sharing with you guys. But I wouldn't have done that, because what's happening is, you know, you left the hair longer here, right? Cool, you can do that because you obviously didn't want it to sprout out. You wanted it to kind of lay back a little bit, right above the occipital bone. That's fine, but the inconsistency is just like, it's just off, man. And you can't get the hair that this short to match this, so it just looks weird, man. But I also would have blended this up a little bit better with shear and comb. Maybe a little bit of a foreguard action, right? Kind of just coming off the ridge, just to make that transition a little bit better. But like from here down, it's a nice blend. From here down, one thing that I noticed that you might have made a mistake on is you didn't notice right here in this section, he was light. And this is when you want to keep that area dark. This is when you want to let the length of hair create an illusion that he doesn't have a light spot here. And then when you line up the longer length of hair, because you left it longer there, like let's say this is a number 1.5, I would have left this a 3. I would have left it a 3, because a 3 is short enough where it'll lay down, but it's long enough where it'll cover this lightness here. And then when you line it up, man, it would have looked mean. I got a video where I show you guys how I did that before in the past. So, all right, so on to the next one. This one's by Blurred Cut. He said, "Hit me up, guys. Blurred Cuts by Raul." Baby, I'm gonna live stream. Okay, all right, princess. Okay, so, you know, you got the foundation. It looks like you spread your blends out enough. Maybe it's the technique. Maybe it's the way that you're using your clippers. Maybe you're doing a little bit too much flicking at a certain spot, because you got weight all in here, right? That's the 1.5 guard with Wall. That's the one open with Andy's, and then followed up with the 2 guard, and that would have been real cleared up. But like all in this section, it looks good. I don't know if you blend up and then blend down, but if you do that, it'll probably help your blends, because you got a good foundation. And then obviously you want to blend this beard in a little bit better. Yo, hold on, let me zoom into this. That's a fire cut. This is a fire cut right here, guys. This is fire. Like, I love this haircut. It's not like, man, it's just. All right, so let's understand how difficult this haircut is to do. So it looks like all this hair right here just wants to sprout out. He cut it short enough to where he could sculpt it. I mean, he left it long enough to where you still had that bulk, but short enough to where he could sculpt it, and just the shape. So the shape is on point. So he gave him that squared look when it looks like his head shape is really super round. I'm loving this cut. I mean, the transition, the way he left that ghost line, but it matches this gentleman cut very well because it's not super sharp, right? It's just soft enough for this style cut. This is a dope cut. Make blurry, it says. I really like this haircut. So, all right, this is a nice cut. This one's by Barbershop, Clarksville, Tennessee. I like how he tagged his city. So, another video dropping soon. He must have a YouTube channel. Cool. So, it's a nice fade. Again, with the beard action, guys. Like, if you're going to post this on Instagram, even if you don't line up the beard, first off, I would have brought, like, show off the haircut more. On Instagram, you could have brought this picture down so more of the beard was cut off and they could see more of the top. And at least blend this section in. Then it'll look like a full service and it'll look good on Instagram. The only critique I got for you is this line right here. You got a line right here. I would have used a fine. It looks like you didn't use a fine-tooth comb to really separate the hairs before you start cutting his hair. And that's why sometimes there'll be like, you know, little patches of hair that look darker. And you probably saw the line and it was hard to take out because you didn't separate the hair with the comb. You just kept, you know, mashing it together with the brush. So the brush is to clear debris. The comb is going to separate the hairs, the fine tooth part, right? All right, so this one is faded by Aiden. Book your cuts at least a day ahead using the link. All right, it says he's a 14-year-old barber. That's good. Good for you, bro. You gotta spread your fades out better. This right here, bro, you could have lined that up sharper. The lineup could have been sharper. I get what you're doing, though. You got the right idea. You were trying to give him a contoured fade. You were leaving this dark. But he almost looks like you're afraid to put a line on him. And what you got to understand is just because you're cutting a lot of hair off doesn't mean you're pushing somebody back. This looks like bangs. This looks like hair hanging over his true hairline. You could have literally just started from here, cut across like this, and gave him a nice sharp line. Like you could have stayed right here, but then, you know, came in a little bit and just knocked those hairs that are hanging over to give him a sharp line. This looks like the zero guard or the half guard. About halfway open, just cleaning this up, just spreading it out, you know, just enough. And he has a crazy shaped head, so spreading his scalp out would have helped out, I think. All right, this one is by Eric Turner. Lee John. I don't know what that says, but that's cool that you put a mark on there. So right away I can tell you there's some weight right here. It looks lighter here than it does here. But you were trying to keep this area dark. So it almost looks like you made your guideline like this and then straight across. When it should have been more like this, right? And then down. Right? You know, this right here looks like probably the blade to the second notch. Just using the corners to clear that up and then opening it as you go. But, you know, you got to match. It's got to be a nice contour, right? A nice curve where it just looks like it's, okay? The lineup looks good, not pushed back. You know, you brought them down, got the waves going a little bit, but that's what I would tell you, man. It's this more so looks like guidelines. Your guidelines weren't on point. So I think this is the last one. This is Mac the Barber. So with Mac the Barber, this is what I'm gonna tell you, bro. Number one, cut the hair first and then dry it with the blow dryer. Yes, baby. Oh, that's nice, baby. And then dry it with the blow dryer so you see how it really lays. Because it actually looks shorter here than it does here. And then it goes back short again. I don't know if that makes sense. And I don't know what technique you use here, but it looks like you use clipper over comb. And you kind of patched them here. You know, this could have been a little bit cleaner. And again, the wetness of the hair just looks like, you know, it looks like everything's just stuck to each other. Use a comb, separate that, get the hair separated so it's easier for you to cut the hair. You know, and honestly, bro, like clipper over comb's an advanced technique. If that's what you were using, you don't need to jump to clipper over comb. Practice this haircut with guards. Master that first. Understand, you know, the lengths and the sizes of the hair and how you use the comb. I mean the clipper. How you take it off the head shape. Because if you understand, you know, head shape and stuff, then when you use a comb, you're not gonna go in too deep. Because this is where the ridge is. This is where the parietal ridge is. It's where it starts to curve in. You probably just hugged it too much on the side of his head and you know, kind of patched him here. So I hope that helps, man. That's tough hair because it's light. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's something different. I'll get better at this. I'll master it, I think. Figure out some better techniques, I think, to do this. But oh no, this was fun. This is something I can do all the time. Your haircut's my feedback. So I'm gonna go back once this is uploaded and watch what the chat was like. But appreciate you guys. Thanks for being on. And again, if you want to submit your photos, follow me on Instagram. Tag Basio Cuts so that I see that you tagged me. But I need you to hashtag YHMF, just like Mac the Barber did right here. That tells me that you want me, that you're tagging me, but you also want to submit your picture to be critiqued. Because if it doesn't have this, then I don't know if I have permission. And, you know, I'm just going to assume you just tagging me. All right? So, y'all take care, man. As always, be blessed.